Hi everyone, this is Varun Bhaiya, and with me is Kartik Bhaiya, and we welcome you all to the C++ course, which will be conducted live by Coding Blocks. So I was saying, आप लोगों के इंजीनियरिंग के पेपर्स कंप्लीट हो चुके हैं। सब लोग अब अपनी काउंसलिंग की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, जैक जोसा इन सब की तैयारी चल रही होगी। एंड ये टाइम थोड़ा ऐसा टाइम होता है जब आप अपने कॉलेजेस ब्रांचेस के बारे में सोच रहे हैं, प्लस इस टाइम में थोड़ा चिल आउट ही चलता है। तो हमने सोचा ये एक अच्छा टाइम है जब हम C++ को सीख सकते हैं। एटलीस्ट स्टार्टिंग स्टेप्स तो उसके लिए हम ले ही सकते हैं। एंड बहुत सारे जो स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं उनका पहला क्वेश्चन ये होता है कि C++ से ही क्यों स्टार्ट करें, कोई और लैंग्वेज है क्या, मैं जावा से स्टार्ट कर सकता हूँ क्या, मैं पाइथन से स्टार्ट कर सकता हूँ क्या। उसका बड़ा सिंपल सा आंसर है, आप लोग जब कॉलेजेस में यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में जाएंगे तो बहुत सारी जगहों पर आपको C++ पढ़ने को मिलता है फर्स्ट ईयर में, कुछ जगह आपको C मिलेगा पढ़ने को। तो जो आप अभी सीखेंगे ये चीज़ एज इट इज़ आपको काम में आएगी। अगर C है तो भी C++ जो आप सीखेंगे वो यूज़ में आएगा। और हम लोग ये भी रेकमेंड करते हैं दैट यू ऑल शुड एटलीस्ट गिव वन ट्राई टू कोडिंग। मतलब आपकी ब्रांच कुछ भी हो, एक ट्राई जरूर देना चाहिए, देखना चाहिए कि क्या आपका इंटरेस्ट है कोडिंग में। अगर इंटरेस्ट है, अगर पैशनेट कोडर बन सकते हो, तो यू शुड डेफिनेटली ट्राई इट आउट। इवन इफ आपकी ब्रांच ईसी हो सकती है, मैकेनिकल हो सकती है, इलेक्ट्रिकल हो सकती है, अलग अलग ब्रांचेस के लोग भी कोडिंग को साइड बाय साइड पढ़ सकते हैं और बहुत अच्छे जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज ग्रैब कर सकते हैं। मतलब आईटी के अंदर, सॉफ्टवेयर के अंदर जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज बहुत अच्छे होते हैं। एंड it's really worth a shot if you can actually try whether you are interested in programming। अगर हैं तो फिर you should definitely pursue it when you are doing your engineering or other courses in graduation। तो ये जो कोर्स है ये हमारे को पढ़ाने वाले हैं हमारे बहुत ही beloved कार्तिक भैया। ही इज a graduate from NSIT, which is now called NSUT। He is one of the very popular mentors here at Coding Blocks, and इनके students are doing really well in many organizations। मतलब all the big organizations the students have made it to। So he is a brilliant teacher, and इनकी फैन फॉलोइंग भी बहुत सॉलिड है। तो मैं बस एक रिक्वेस्ट आप सबसे ये करना चाहूँगा, ये कोर्स जो है ये हमने सारे स्टूडेंट्स के लिए फ्री दिया है। आप लोगों ने जब एनरोल किया होगा कोर्स में तो एक कोड है VMC2020। जब आप इस कोड को यूज़ करते हैं तो ये जो प्रोग्राम है ये आपको फ्री में मिलता है। बट जनरली क्या होता है, हम लोग ना फ्री चीज़ों की वैल्यू नहीं करते। मुन्ना भैया ने बोला था कि ये कोर्स हमें सबको फ्री में देना है, एंड वी नीड टू मेक श्योर दैट ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स शुड एटलीस्ट गिव अ ट्राई टू कोडिंग। तो हमने ये कोर्स फ्री दिया है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप इसको लाइटली लेंगे। इसको सीरियसली परस्यू कीजिए, सीरियसली देखिए कि आपका इंटरेस्ट क्या बिल्ड होता है, और अगर होता है देन यू हैव द वर्ल्ड टू एक्सप्लोर in coding। So over to Kartik भैया। एंड देन ये थोड़ा सा डिफरेंटली हम कर रहे हैं कोर्स, क्योंकि जनरली हमारी लाइव क्लासेस जो हैं वो काफ़ी क्लोज्ड फॉर्मेट में होती हैं। हम जो हमारी क्लासेस होती हैं जूम पर लेते हैं। ये जूम की जो क्लासेस होती हैं इनकी रिकॉर्डिंग्स आपको प्लेटफॉर्म जहाँ पर आपने साइन अप किया, जब आप अब लॉग इन करेंगे तो वहाँ पर आपको कोर्स, उसके असाइनमेंट्स, उसके डाउट्स, ये सारे फीचर्स मिलते हैं। ये कोर्स हम YouTube पे इसलिए कर रहे हैं ताकि maximum number of students can benefit from this course। They can subscribe to the course, they can understand how to get started as a coder in the world of programming। and इसमें जो हमारी क्लासेस हैं वो हम YouTube पे लेंगे। अदर देन द क्लासेस, आपके असाइनमेंट्स, आपके डाउट्स, वो सब आप प्लेटफॉर्म के अंदर जब जाएंगे तब आप वहां पर उस अपने कोर्स के अंदर क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकते हैं पढ़ते हुए। आपके असाइनमेंट्स होंगे वो भी आपको हमारा खुद का आईडी है उसके अंदर ही आपको प्रोग्राम करके सबमिट करने होंगे। एवरीथिंग वुड रन द यूजुअल वे, ओनली दैट आपकी जो क्लासेस हैं वो हम यूट्यूब पे लेंगे। So over to Kartik Bhaiya, and wish you all a very very superb journey in the C++ course.
So hello guys, कैसे हो आप सब लोग? Are you all excited for this particular course? Because this is the course जो generally students उन्हें दिक्कत आती है when they are starting to learn any programming language, so they don't know from which part to start until where they should read about this stuff. And once you have read about it, then what all things are there that you need to cover, that you need to practice after you have completed this particular course. All right, so there are many people. So Vicky, uh, Alok, Pranshu, Anu. So yeah, that is great. So I'm also very excited. So auspicious says that he don't know anything about C++. Yeah. So I'll tell you that हमारा जो ये कोर्स है वो किन किन लोगों के लिए होगा और जो हम कवर कर रहे होंगे वो कैसे कैसे कवर करेंगे. तो पहले उन्हीं चीज़ों से स्टार्ट करते हैं. सो आई शेयर माई स्क्रीन एंड आई लेट यू नो अबाउट द फ्यू डिटेल्स जो हमारे लिए ज़रूरी हैं. ठीक है, तो देखो सबसे पहली चीज, तो वी हैव क्रिएटेड अ डिस्कॉर्ड चैनल बिकॉज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट कम्स इनटू द पिक्चर इज व्हाइल यू आर लर्निंग न्यू थिंग्स इज आपकी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग और आपके डाउट्स में कोई हिंड्रेंस नहीं आनी चाहिए, राइट? इफ यू आर ट्राइंग टू फिगर आउट हाउ टू डू अ क्वेश्चन, सो दैट इज वेयर एक्चुअली इंटरेस्ट कैन लूज वेरी इजिली. सो हमें वो नहीं करना है. तो हमने एक डिस्कॉर्ड का चैनल बनाया है. तो डिस्कॉर्ड एक ऐप है, तो यू कैन इंस्टॉल इट फॉर योर डेस्कटॉप, लैपटॉप और आपके मोबाइल फोन पे भी अवेलेबल होती है. एंड दिस इज द लिंक थ्रू विच यू कैन गो एंड ज्वाइन द डिस्कॉर्ड ऐप. ठीक है, तो यू कैन ऑल ज्वाइन द डिस्कॉर्ड वाया दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग. एंड जो हमारे कोर्स के बारे में हमारी डिटेल्स हैं, वी विल बी स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम द टुडे सेशन ऑनवर्ड्स. हम आज से ही पहला सेशन स्टार्ट कर देंगे. वी विल बी स्टार्टिंग विद द वेरी बेसिक्स. तो जिन लोगों ने सी प्लस प्लस पढ़ रखी है और जिन लोगों ने नहीं पढ़ी है, तो दोनों को एडवांटेज होगी. अगर कोई बिल्कुल बेसिक है जिसको कुछ नहीं आता, देन इट इज ऑल्सो फाइन, देयर इज नो इशू विद इट. किसी को मतलब चीज़ों का आइडिया है, दे नो कि ये चीज़ें थोड़ी बहुत बेसिक नॉलेज है, तो हाँ, उनको भी फ़ायदा मिलेगा. हम बहुत सारे अच्छे अच्छे क्वेश्चंस कर रहे होंगे ड्यूरिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर कोर्स. तो ये जो हमारा कोर्स है, दिस इज बेसिकली सी प्लस प्लस फंडामेंटल्स. तो हम इसमें बिल्कुल बेसिक से शुरू करेंगे, दैट विल बी फ्लो चार्ट्स. तो पहले हम लॉजिक को सोच कर किसी को अपना लॉजिक बता कैसे सकते हैं कि वो लॉजिक आराम से वो समझ सके, वो वाली चीज़ों पे हम इनिशियली फोकस करेंगे, राइट? तो ऑलराइट, सो लेट अस स्टार्ट विद इट. तो सबसे पहले हम एक ना पजल से स्टार्ट करते हैं. ठीक है, तो चलो, आई विल गिव यू अ पजल फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल. यू कैन ज्वाइन द डिस्कॉर्ड एंड पजल से स्टार्ट करते हैं. सो आई होप सबने और ग्लासेस देखा होगा. ठीक है, अलादीन में, मतलब अगर मूवी देखी हो बचपन में छोटे पे जब थे, तो और ग्लास सबने मोस्ट प्रोबेबली देखा होगा. तो और ग्लास इज समथिंग लाइक दिस, राइट? उसमें यहाँ पे हमारी सैंड फील्ड होती है. ठीक है, तो ये सैंड नीचे गिरती रहती है. तो हमारे पास ऐसे और ग्लासेस हैं. तो एक जो हमारे पास और ग्लास है, तो आई जस्ट शो यू द प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट एज वेल. ठीक है, तो देखो, हमारे पास बेसिकली दो और ग्लासेस हैं. एक हमारे पास 7 मिनट का है, एक हमारे पास 11 मिनट का है. तो व्हाट डज दिस थिंग मीन? तो और ग्लास है, दिस थिंग इज कॉल्ड एज और ग्लास. तो हमारे पास एक 7 मिनट्स का है. तो 7 मिनट्स का मतलब ये है कि 7 मिनट्स में ये ऊपर की जितनी भी सैंड है, ये सारी नीचे गिर जाएगी. दूसरा हमारे पास एक 11 मिनट्स का है. तो 11 मिनट्स में जितनी भी इधर सैंड है, वो सारी सैंड नीचे गिर जाएगी. So what we need to do, we need to calculate exactly 15 minutes. ठीक है, हमें टोटल ये बताना है कि 15 मिनट्स कब होंगे. तो आपको टोटल 15 मिनट्स का टाइम कैलकुलेट करके बताना है. सो ऑलराइट, लेट्स सी कि कौन ये वाली चीज हमें सबसे पहले बता पाएगा इसका आंसर कि क्या है ये वाली चीज. सो आई शेयर द लिंक ऑफ द डिस्कॉर्ड इन द chat itself, so don't worry. I'll share the link. ठीक है, तो चलो सब ट्राई करो और ग्लास वाली चीज, एंड लेट मी नो कि हम ये वाली चीजें कैसे कर सकते हैं। ठीक है, सो देयर आर मेनी आंसर्स, सो स्टार्ट विद 7, flip once, yeah, so Kali have given the correct answer. ऑलराइट, तो हम ना इसके दो वेज देख सकते हैं। देखो, जब भी आप प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करते हो, उस प्रॉब्लम को करने के देयर कैन बी मल्टीपल वे, कोई एक वे सही नहीं होता। इट इज क्वाइट पॉसिबल कि आपने जो वे नहीं देखा, दूसरा वे उससे बेटर भी हो सकता है जो हमें करेक्टली पता है। सो लेट अस ट्राई टू फिगर दिस थिंग आउट हाउ वी कैन सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम। तो चलो, हमारे पास इनिशियली एक और ग्लास है विच इज ऑफ 7 मिनट्स, दूसरा मेरे पास एक और ग्लास है विच इज ऑफ 11 मिनट्स। तो 11 मिनट्स में सारी सैंड नीचे गिर जाएगी। ठीक है, तो चलो अब हमें क्या करना है, तो पहले एक काम करते हैं, लेट अस स्टार्ट बोथ द आवर ग्लासेस। ठीक है, दोनों आवर ग्लासेस को हम चलने देते हैं। तो देखो, जब 7 मिनट्स हो जाएंगे तो ऊपर इधर 0 मिनट की सैंड बचेगी, नीचे 7 मिनट्स की सैंड हो जाएगी, बिकॉज 7 मिनट्स की सारी सैंड फर्स्ट आवर ग्लास में नीचे गिर गई। ठीक है, सेकेंड आवर ग्लास में क्या होगा, इस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे, इस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे नीचे 7 मिनट्स की सैंड ही होगी, ऊपर कितने मिनट की सैंड हो जाएगी, 4 मिनट। तो देखो, जब भी ऐसी पजल आती है, कोई क्वेश्चन आता है, तो हमें उसके लॉजिक पे जाना जरूरी है पहले। तो पहला लॉजिक हमें ये दिखता है कि भाई हम जो मिनट्स कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं, 11 मिनट्स, 7 मिनट्स, इनका डिफरेंस कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं, 11 - 7, तो दैट इज बेसिकली 4 मिनट्स। आई कैन कैलकुलेट द एडिशन ऑफ दीज टू, 11 + 7 विच इज 18 मिनट्स। तो हम ये सारे पॉसिबल परम्यूटेशन एंड कॉम्बिनेशन निकाल सकते हैं टू कैलकुलेट अ टाइम। तो देखो, अब हमें टोटल कितना चाहिए, 15 मिनट्स, राइट। तो हमारे पास एक 11 मिनट का और ग्लास है, तो 11 + 4 विल गिव मी 15, राइट। तो मेरे को कहीं से भी 4 मिनट्स की रिक्वायरमेंट थी, 4 मिनट्स में मैं 11 मिनट्स ऐड कर दूं तो मेरी बात बन जाएगी। तो मेरे को 15 मिनट्स कैलकुलेट करने थे। तो व्हाट आई विल डू एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, आई विल से कि मैं यहाँ से अपना टाइम कैलकुलेट करना स्टार्ट करता हूँ, 15 मिनट्स बताने। सो आई विल स्टार्ट कैलकुलेटिंग द टाइम फ्रॉम दिस पॉइंट ऑनवर्ड्स। तो सी व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन। So now see, we already have 4 minutes with us. So I'll say that I have calculated 4 minutes, which will eventually lead me to calculate the 15 minutes at the end, right? So let us start calculating the time from this point onwards, because we have started both our classes. So first hour classes ends in 7 minutes. The second hour glass would have this particular state. At the top we'll have 4 minutes and at the bottom we'll have 7 minutes and. So I'll say that I'll start calculating the time from this point onwards. So now what will happen? I'll just let this hourglass continue. So after 4 minutes, right? So this will be 4 minutes. So after 4 minutes, there won't be any sand at the topmost shell of this hourglass, and there will be 11 minutes sand in the bottom. So we have calculated 4 minutes till now. The next thing, what should I do? I need 11 minutes more to calculate the total 15 minutes. 4 minutes I have already calculated. So what I'll do, I'll simply flip this hourglass. So once I'll flip this hourglass, what will happen? See, 11 minutes will come on the top and 0 minutes will come at the bottom. Now I'll let this particular hourglass run. So let the sand of this particular hourglass run. Now what will happen? When there will be 0 minutes above and 11 minutes sand in the below part. So we have calculated total 11 minutes over here. You see, the total time that we needed was 15 minutes. And if I started to calculate time at this point onwards, I have calculated total 15 minutes. Right? So I have calculated total 15 minutes. But you can notice this particular thing, that we have wasted this much amount of time. This much amount of time was not needed, right? So we have wasted this much time. So 7 minutes was wasted. So to calculate, so to tell the user that 15 minutes have have taken place. So I took 15 minutes plus these extra 7 minutes. So total time that I took was equals to 22 minutes. So to calculate 15 minutes, I have taken 22 minutes, which is not the most optimized way to solve this particular problem. But yeah, the solution is correct. The task was to calculate the total 15 minutes. We were able to do it, but we have wasted 7 minutes over here, right? So 7 minutes we have wasted. So let us try to understand that how we can optimize this particular problem. Right. So I'll explain it again. Don't worry. So we'll do it again. So see, we will discuss the optimized approach. Again, we have two hourglasses. One is of 7 minutes, and there is no sand in the below part. The another sand, I have 11 minutes at the top and 0 minutes at the bottom. So there are two hourglasses. One is of 7 minutes. So I hope that this thing is clear. That by 7 minutes, I mean that the sand which is filled in the topmost part over here, it will fall down in total 7 minutes. Right. So now what will happen? See, we will let these two hourglasses run. So after 7 minutes have spent, what I can say that there will be 0 minutes sand on the top and 7 minutes sand would have fallen down, right? So I can say these are the 7 minutes we have calculated over here. So see, to make 15 minutes, I can also do something like this: 7 plus 7 plus 1, right? This will also make, or this will also provide me total 15 minutes of time. So what will be the state of the second hourglass in this particular case? So see, there will be 4 minutes sand on the top and 7 minutes sand at the bottom, right? So this is the another thing that would happen. So now what should I do at this particular point? So let us try to flip this particular hourglass. I'm just flipping it. So I'll just flip this hourglass. So what will happen at this point? So this hourglass will change its state. 7 minutes sand will come at the top and 0 minutes sand will come at the bottom. Is this much clear to all of you? Just let me know in the chat. So guys, there are many people those who are saying that speak in Hindi, and there are many those who are saying speak in Hindi or English. So let us stick to English then, I guess. All right, is this much part clear? That what we have done this till this particular point. All right. So okay. So this is clear. So what I'll do, I'll just try to explain it in English only. All right. So now what I'll do, I'll just let these two hourglasses run at this particular point of time. Let these two hourglasses run. So see what will happen when the 4 minutes sand which is available over here, right? When this sand will fall down, so what will happen? There will be 0 minutes at the top and there will be 11 minutes at the bottom, right? And over here, what will happen? Because this is equal to 4 minutes. So 4 minutes sand have fallen down. Now because 4 minutes sand has fallen down, so it will be 4 at the bottom of this because there will be 4 minutes sand or the 4 minutes time have spent. So that much amount of sand will be at the bottom of this hourglass, right? Now at the top we'll have 3 minutes or 3 minutes total, which are remaining for this particular hourglass that we can calculate. Now what should I do? Can you guys tell me that see at the till this particular point we have calculated total 11 minutes. Now what should I do? What should I do at this particular point so that at the end I have calculated 15 minutes which was required in this problem. Flip the first one. Yes, Manya Jain has given the correct answer. Right. Flip the left hourglass or flip the first one. So I'll flip this first one because we have already calculated these 11 minutes. Now, to calculate the total 15 minutes, I'll simply flip this hourglass. So once you'll flip this hourglass, what will happen? The state will become something like this. 4 minutes sand will go above, 3 minutes sand will come down. So flipping can happen instantaneously. It is not going to take that much amount of time. It will happen instantaneously in no time. So now what will happen? I'll just let this hourglass run. So after the 4 minute sand will fall down, so I'll have 0 minute sand on the top and 7 minute sand at the bottom. So I have calculated 4 minutes more, right? So this in totality will give me 15 minutes, right? So this is how we can calculate the 15 minutes. So there are two approaches through which we can solve this problem. In the second case, we started to measure the time from the starting point onwards. That is when we started the hourglass for the first time. Whereas in the first case, what happened? First case, we started to calculate time after 7 minutes. So there was wastage of 7 minutes. So this is how the optimization of a particular problem can be done. There can be multiple solution, right? There can be multiple solutions. Or whatever solution we know, we should always try that how we can optimize this particular solution in a such a way that it will become a better solution. All right. So see, so most of you are asking what about C++? So we will be starting with the C++ for sure. But in initial few classes, we will be covering basic things like flowcharts and pseudocode, so that those who are absolutely new in this program, they should also know that how they can think about the logic, how they can implement the loops, so that when we go towards the C++ programming, they will not face any issues, right? So we will be doing C++, right? So all right, let's continue with our session. Okay, so I'll be asking a few questions from you. So all right, so see, whatever we do, so we'll become writing programs on our system. It's basically a machine. So machine does not understand our language. If I'm going to ask the machine to do a particular task, the system is not going to understand it. So what will happen? The machine only understands something which is binary, right? So machine only understands the command in binary, 0 or 1. So that is what we call as binary. So right, it is not possible for human beings to write program using binary syntax. So using binary, it's not possible for me to write the statement because it will be very difficult for me to read. Right. So it will obviously it will help the machine, but it will be very difficult for me to write the programs in it. So right. So now what happens? So see, we write programs in our human instructions. Those human instructions are converted into the binary file. So can anyone tell me who does this particular part of converting the human instructions into the binary code? Can you guys tell me? Yeah. So Aditya has given the correct answer. So yeah, Aditya is absolutely correct. So that is basically compiler. Compiler is something which converts our human instructions to the machine code. So that machine code can be executed on our system. So this is related to each and every programming language that we study, C++, Java. The everything that we write, they are getting converted into binary file using the compiler, right? So it's obviously it's nearly impossible for us to write code in binary. So we prefer to write something which we can easily understand and then convert it to binary using compiler. So all right. So let us start with the what a programming language is, right? So see, a programming language is very simple. The way through which you can communicate with the machine, right? If you want to give instructions to the machine, so the thing that we use or a language that we use is called as a programming language. So see, it's basically the rules or the syntax which machine understands, right? So every language have certain rules. So similarly, the language that we are going to study, C++, it also has some rules or the rules that we use in programming language are called as syntax. There's nothing as such to learn. So, do you guys know anything about what is the difference between high level language and low level language? Anything? Anyone knows about it? What kind? The language that we are going to study. Can you tell me what that language is? Is it a high level language or low level language? Come on, बताओ आप लोग की हाई लेवल लैंग्वेज पढ़ रहे हैं हम सी प्लस प्लस में या फिर लो लेवल लैंग्वेज पढ़ रहे हैं. All right. So many of you are saying low level, and many of you are saying high level. So see, the language that we are going to study is a high level language. So जो language is closer to the machine can easily understand. So there are certain languages like assembly language. तो आप जब कॉलेज में जाओगे, so you'll be studying these languages. So that is a low level language. The languages which are easily understandable to human beings. That language is called as high level language. All right. So see, C++, Java, Python, these are high level languages. Then there is assembly language. Then the assembly language, if we'll write the code in the binary number system itself, which is machine code. So that is the lowest level, and then we run this particular on the processor. So that's it, right? So let's move towards something which is called as algorithm. So these are terms which we need to understand first before we can move towards the problem solving techniques, right? So can you guys tell me like what an algorithm is? Okay, so what is an algorithm? If I'll ask you guys that, tell me that what do you think about that algorithm is this particular thing? Or do you have any understanding about it? So you can let me know in the comment section. All right. Step by step process, Harsh says. Uh, yes, set of instructions. Yes. So, for example, if I'll ask you guys, so let us say if we want to make a cup of tea. So, cup of tea, अगर हमें एक बनानी है, so that is basically a problem. So, there must be a solution to solve this particular problem. So, how can we solve this particular problem? Just tell me that how can we make a cup of tea? What is the first thing that we need to do? Yeah, so for making a cup of tea, what is the algorithm that we need to follow? Yeah, so Satvik has asked the correct answer. Satvik have given the correct answer. यो तो आप लोगों में से काफी लोग बोल रहे हैं कि boil the water, boil some milk. So see, get the resources. Yeah, obviously, first thing is to get the resources. But when we are talking that we have the resources, now we want to make the tea. Then what we should do? See, the first thing would be to ask that for how many people we want to make a tea. Because if someone says that boil some water, so what does this sum mean? तो मैं मतलब छत पे टंकी होती है पानी की वो पूरे के पूरे पैन में पलट दूं या उसी को उबालने लग जाऊं, ऐसा तो नहीं कर सकते ना. So what we need to do, we need to make sure that how many people are there. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि भाई मतलब पूरी भीड़ बैठी हुई है और हमने मतलब एक जने के लिए बना दी चाय, उसमें मतलब बोल रहे हैं ठीक है एक एक सिप ले लो, तो ऐसा नहीं हो सकता, राइट. से मम्मी को बुलाना माय फर्स्ट स्टेप. हाँ ठीक है, बट एल्गोरिथम इज समथिंग which you should know if you want to solve that problem, right? So that is the main thing. There are certain steps. You cannot ask that how many cup of tea you need to make after you have made the tea. So there are certain steps that are involved, right? So you will ask that how many people do we want to make a tea for, and then what I'll do, I'll simply say that for one person, I need let's say 200 ml of water. So for 50 people, I'll just multiply it by 50. So that will increase in proportionate quantity, right? So that is basically step by step process. So we are not going to discuss very much into that thing. So this is what algorithm is: step by step procedure to solve a particular problem, right? So these steps are performed in a certain order. We cannot change the order of these steps. and they should be unambiguous. Unambiguous means there should not be any ambiguity. Ambiguity means confusion नहीं है कि भाई इस point पे आके मैं ये task करूं या ये task करूं. That is the must, right? So to express an algorithm, the first thing that we can do it, I can explain it to you, right? So I can explain it on in our native language that we speak, in the English, German, French. That's it, right? So many people I have seen that they are saying Java is the best, C++ is the best. Many were writing it in the comments section. So what happens? See, the algorithm. Let's say if you want to make a cup of tea, this algorithm is the creating. If you want to create a cup of tea, that process is not going to change even if you are sitting in America, if you are sitting in Germany, so the steps would remain the same. What will happen? The way you are going to communicate that particular steps, right? So that thing is going to change. सिर्फ हमारे जो कन्वर्जेशन का मीडियम है दैट विल चेंज, बट जो चाय बनाने की टेक्निक है वो तो सेम रहेगी. So that is the main thing. So that is the same thing with the programming languages that we study. If we are going to learn C++, it will not take me much time to learn Java. Similarly for Python, Python is very easy. You can learn it in a week. अगर आप करना चाहो तो हफ्ते में पूरी हो जाएगी Python. So that is how the importance of an algorithm is. You should know the algorithm. Just conveying it via language to a computer, that's another. You can do it using any language, right? So let us move towards what are buckets or what are variables. See, when we are studying programming language, so if you want to store that how many people uh, do we need to make tea for, there are how many people that we need to make tea for. So what will happen in this case? See, we need to store this particular thing inside a variable or a bucket. There is something which we need when we want to store data. If you are trying to store data, you need variables or buckets. So we can create buckets or we can create envelopes. You can call it anything. Variable, bucket, envelope. That means the same thing, right? So we need these things to store our result, to store the data that we want to store. So this is one of the most important thing. Without storing some information from the user, we won't be able to write a program. Right. So what are instructions now? So see, instructions are basically you ask the machine to follow these particular steps. And to do that, we need compiler. So compiler converts our high level language or the syntax that we understand into machine code. And that machine code is finally what is getting executed. So execution means when the program is going to run. So when the program runs, we say that it is basically getting executed. Right. So I will share these notes. Don't worry. So see, there are we are now moving towards the problem solving section. So there are 6 basic instructions that you need to know before you can start program. So the first instruction is taking input. Right. So first thing that we said, we need to know how many people are there. ठीक है. So जिनके लिए हमें चाय बनानी है. So how many people are there? We need to make tea for. So first thing is taking input from the user. Then once you have the desired result, you want to show something to the user. That is called as output. Then you want to perform some arithmetic operations, right? So some arithmetic operation comprises of, if you want to do, just wait. All right. So see, there are some arithmetic operations that means addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, right? Taking mod or finding the remainder. These are arithmetic operations. Then the next thing is you want to assign a value to a variable. So just give me a moment. Yeah. Actually, there's some issue with the iPad. Just let me. Yeah. Now let us see. So if we want to perform some addition, subtraction, multiplication, so these are basically what we say arithmetic operations. You must have studied in your uh, school classes as well, right? So then there are some allocation. If you want to add a value, let's say if you want to say is equals to 10, b equals to 20. So this is what we call as assigning values, right? Or storing the result, assignment. Next is conditional execution. So conditional execution is based on some condition. For example, if my answer or if my output is going to be based on some condition, if my action is going to be based on some condition, let's say if it is raining, then take an umbrella. If not, then don't take an umbrella. So that is what condition is. You want to take decision based on the condition. The next is repetition of a group of actions. So if we want to repeat some tasks, right? So if you want to repeat same task again and again, right? You want to do a particular task and you want to do it multiple times. So for that we need some way through which we can do that particular task. So that is where we are going to use loops. So we will study about loops in depth again. So let us start with it. So we will be starting with the flowchart. Let us see. So see, there are some basic components that you need to know before we can uh, start with the flowchart, right? So let us see. See, there is first thing that is present over there, which is called as start. Whenever we start our program, we need to write this particular statement that from which point we are going to start it. So see, this is called as the starting point of the program. There cannot be an ambiguity while we are trying to start the program. So see, can you guys tell me, can there be multiple starts for a program or for an algorithm? Can there be multiple starts? Can we include multiple starts in our algorithm? Deep Deepagar says no. What about others? बाकी लोग भी बताओ. Can we do it? Satvik says yes, and many of you are saying no. Right? So see, no, there cannot be multiple starts. Why? Because that would create ambiguity. Right? So you have a program, and user wants to run this particular program. So user should start from this point A or point B. That creates an ambiguity, right? So we have seen that while writing an algorithm, we cannot write ambiguous statements. So we cannot have multiple starts. So to create start, we use this particular block. This is called as start and end. So now many of you might ask that why are we learning flowcharts? Why are we not jumping directly onto the programming using C++ or all that other things. So see, when you'll be sitting for your interviews, you'll be going for your interview, it is a high chance that the interviewer might ask you that please write the flowchart for this particular program. Right? So there I have seen the cases where you are asked to write the flowchart. And if you don't know the basic syntax to write a flowchart, then obviously there will be, some trouble that you are going to face while during the interview. So you should know about the basic components which are available, so through which you can explain your algorithm. So this is how we can start and end your program. The next thing is to take the input or to print something. So we use this rhombus kind of structure, right? So to take input or to print something, we read using this particular thing, and we want to print something, we print it using this particular rhombus. The next thing is to do some allocation of the variables to find some arithmetic result, or that is what we call as process curve, right? So while to process something, what we need this rectangular block. Let's say I want to assign some the value 0. I want to create a bucket I with the value 1. So we do it in a rectangular block or called as process block. Then for conditional statements, or if our decision is going to be based on a condition, we need this uh, parallelogram of structure. So let's say raining is raining. If it says yes, then take an umbrella. If it says no, then don't take an umbrella. Simple, right? Then we have arrows. The arrows tell us that what is the flow of this particular flow chart, right? So if you start from point A, then what is the next point that you need to go to? That is being denoted by these arrows. Then we have connectors. So if, for example, I am writing on a single page, my page is full of the flowcharts and I cannot write any further over here. So I'll go to the next page and I'll connect it with the same connector. So this is not generally what we are going to use. This is used rarely because we are not going to write that huge flowcharts that is going to occupy all the space. But yeah, it is good to know if you have an algorithm that is going out of a single page, you should use connectors to connect these two parts. Right, so that's it for this particular theoretical part. Now let's move on towards some questions. Now we'll think about some problems and you guys will help me out with the initial problems, right? So let us start with it. So let us say if we want to calculate simple interest. So what should we do? You guys tell me. You want to calculate some, want to calculate the simple interest. So what is the first step after you have started your algorithm? Right, so first step, what should be the first step? Yeah, the first thing would be to take input of principal, rate, and time. So when we want to take input, so we use a rhombus, right? So we will use a rhombus over here. So first of all, we need to read principal, rate, and time. What is the next step, and which block we are going to use for it? What is the next step after this? Yeah, we have taken the input of PRT. What is the next step? Process block. Yes, Rohit Kumar Srivastav has given the correct answer. We need to use process block to calculate the simple interest. Once we have it, what is the next step? We print the simple interest. So what I'll do, I'll simply print it. Right. So we have printed the simple interest and then we'll simply end our program. So this is the algorithm to calculate the simple interest. Right. So this is how easy it is to explain your algorithm using flowchart. Let's move on towards the next question. We need to find largest of three numbers. You tell me what is the first thing that we should do if we want to find the largest of three numbers. First thing that we should do. First of all, do you have these three numbers? No, you don't have three numbers. You need to take input of these three numbers. So I'll take input, right? So first of all, read three numbers. The next step, what will be the next step? Yeah, I have taken input of ABC. The next step should be take anyone and compare it with other two. Yes, Mohan, very good. It's absolutely correct. So I'll compare whether A is greater than B and A is greater than C. If this thing is true, then I can say that A is the largest number. So I can print that A is the largest number and I can end the program. So see, this particular thing over here, yes, if this condition is true, then we are going to follow this particular path. We will print the A because that's the largest number and I'll end my program. If this condition fails, then what should I do? Yes. Secondly, we are going to check for B, whether B is greater than A and B is greater than C. If these things are true over here, then B will be the largest. So I'll print B and I'll end my program. If these things are not true, should I check for C? क्या मैं देखूं C A और B दोनों से बड़ा है या नहीं बड़ा? Should I check that particular part or no? Or not? Should I check it? Should I check the number C with A and B or not? No, there's no need because if A is not the largest number, B is not the largest number, then that means obviously C will be the largest. So I simply print C and I'll end my program. So this is the simple code to print the largest of three numbers using this is the flowchart, right? Now the next thing that is the most important thing while we are learning it. See, we need to understand something which is called as repeating a particular task. So let us see how we can repeat a particular task and what are the things that we need to use. So see, let us see. So see, we are given, we have to read A and D and we need to print 10 numbers. A plus D, A plus 2D, A plus 3D. So can you guys tell me what will be the 10th number of this particular series? What will be the 10th number in this particular series? Yes, you guys are correct. We use loop for repeating. What will be the last term for this particular series if we are printing 10 numbers? So yeah, most of people make mistake in this. That is not going to be A plus 9D. Why? So see, the first term is, what is the first term? The first term is A plus D. The second term is A plus 2D. The third term is A plus 3D. So what will be the 10th term? So it will be A plus 10D and not A plus 9D. Right? A plus 9D is not the correct answer because we have not started from A plus 0D. So it will be A plus 10D, right? So ये मतलब this is the most common mistake that people make, right? So all right, so this is the A plus 10 data. So now what it is given to us, so we will write the flow chart of this particular problem on our own. See, you guys tell me what is the first thing that we need to do, obviously after starting. What is the first thing that we need to do? Yeah, so first thing that we need to do is read A and D, right? We have to read A and D first. The next thing is we need to print these 10 numbers. See, the first and the most easiest way to do it is I'll write print A plus D. Next, I'll write print A plus 2D. Next, I'll do print A plus 3D. So on, I'll keep this particular task. I'll keep on doing the particular task and I'll write it 10 times. So this is very, very tedious process to do. What if I'll write it, do it for 100 numbers? You won't be willing to write or you won't be willing to even, create the flowchart for these 100 numbers, right? So to make or this particular task, what we are doing, see, we are printing something. We are printing something again and again. So the task that we need to do is to print something, and we are repeating that particular action again and again. So for that, we use something which is called as loops. So suppose that if you are going, let's say if I'll ask you that you need to take 10 steps. So there are two ways through which you can do it. I'll say that take one step. I'll keep the count, right? I'll say take one step. Then I'll say take one step, take one step, take one step, take one step. So you have taken 5 steps, right? So the easiest way for me to communicate this thing to you was take 5 steps. I could have directly asked you to take 5 steps, and you would have kept a counter in your mind that I have taken one step till now, second step till now, third step till now, fourth, fifth. So you will keep the counter and you will take 5 steps and you will stop. So we need something which is called as counter because we need to do a particular task for 10 times. So obviously I would need a track whether I have done that particular task 10 times or not. So the first thing that is needed is a counter, right? So let us see that how this counter is going to work. See, these are basically 10 times that we have printed this particular series, right? For 10 times we need to print it. So we will take one counter. So how many times this particular counter is going to run? We need to do this particular task that many number of times, right? So what are we going to do? I'll check whether the value of the counter has become equal to 10 or not. Because if the value of counter is not equal to 10, that means I still need to do this particular task. That task has not been done that many times which the user have asked me to do. So I need to repeat that task for a particular number of times. And what I'll make sure that whether the value of counter is less than equals to 10 or not, because we are doing something for 10 times. So obviously, when someone asked me to take 5 steps, so I kept a counter in my mind. When I took 1 step, I increased that counter by 1. So I'll say, all right, so if I'll take 1 step, I'll increase the counter by 1. When I'll take second step, I'll increase the counter to 2. When I'll take third step, I'll increase the counter to 3, and so on. Here we need to do it for 10 times, right? So I'll take the counter till the value of 10. And every time the counter, if this counter is less than 10, that means I need to do the task. This means do the task. The task has not been done 10 times. If this counter is not less than 10, that means we have done the task 10 times. This is simple. And every time you will do the task, you will increase the counter, right? So every time you take a single step, you update the counter by 1. So this is the next important thing. Once you'll do the task, you need to update the counter. So counter will get updated by the value of 1. This depends, right? So we need to do something for 10 times. So I'll update the counter by 1 so that I can count till 10. So this counter, once I'll update it, I'll check whether the counter value has exceeded 10 or not. If not, then again do the task. Once you'll do the task, you'll again update the counter. So let's forget about everything. I have one counter bucket. Initial value of the counter is 1. So see, the flow is carried on by the arrows. So we have initialized the counter over here. The counter value has been provided, which is equals to 1. Now I'll go. Is the value of counter less than 10? Yes. Counter value is equal to 1. So do the task. So let's say I have printed this term in the first time. I'll update the counter. The counter value will become equals to 2. I'll go over here. I'll again check what is the value of the counter now. Is it greater than 10 or not? No, the value of counter is still less than 10. That means I have not completed the task for 10 times. So I'll go again. I'll check. Yes, this thing is true. So again do the task. Let's say I have printed this term for the second time. The task I was doing, I have printed the second term when I was doing the task again. So I'll take this counter again to the top. I'll update the counter to 3. Now what is going to happen? I'll go over here and I'll check. Is counter still less than 10? Yes, counter value is equals to 3. That means we have done the task 2 times and we are going to do it for the third time again. So now I'll again check. Counter is still less than 10. Yes, this thing is true. I'll again do the task. So I'll print the third term. So see, you can see this task or this particular segment of code that we have written. This thing is going to run for multiple amount of time, right? So that amount would be determined by these two conditions. That what was the initial count you started your counting from, and what is the final count that you finally took your count till. These are the two most important components. The starting point, I started from 10. If the counter value is less than 10, then we need to do the task. So this task is going to get repeated 10 times. So that was the main motive, right? We need to do something for 10 times. That was the main motive behind writing this particular logic. So this is how we can simply write our flow chart for loops. This thing that we have written over here, this thing also represents something which is called as loops. So it's not mandatory that you need to write loops in your programming language only. You can easily write it using flowcharts as well. It's just that when you write flowcharts, you won't be able to run that particular code or execute that particular code, and you will not be able to see the output. So that's why we need to move towards the programming language. I can teach you programming or I can teach you everything on flowcharts, but the problem that we are going to face in it, I won't be able to run this. So that's why we need some simpler version so that we can see the output and whether it's working right or not. So for that we need programming language. So now you have understood. You tell me whether you have understood this thing or not. That we want to repeat a particular task, then how we can implement a loop. We need a counter. Is this much clear to each and every one of you or not? Is this thing clear or not? Madhu Sharma says, book. Don't worry, Madhur, you will not need any book. मतलब book की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. Uh, just just focus on what we are doing, and it will go absolutely fine. All right. So see, initially these things are something which are very basics, but these are very crucial. So after this, when we'll move towards some interesting topics, then obviously you will find it much more interesting. But right now, this is what is very, very much needed on problem solving skill set. Right? If you want to build your problem solving techniques, this is very important. Right? So let us see. Now we need to do this particular task. So we need to implement a loop. So we need to initialize a counter. Right. So then the second thing that comes into the picture is condition check for counter. How many times you need to run this particular thing. After this, we need to write updation of counter. And this will go over here. So if this thing is true, then we need to do task and update the counter. If this thing is not true, that means we have done this particular task multiple times and we need to stop. This is the basic structure for loop. Right. This is the most basic structure for loop, and it will be used in every particular programming language that you are going to implement in the coming years. Right. This is the basic structure of the loop. Now let us move towards the programming or the flowchart that we were trying to write. So we will start. We will read A and D. Now you will help me out with this particular problem. We need to print this A plus D, A plus 2D, A plus 3D, and so on till A plus 10D. You guys help me out that how can I print these terms? Right, these are 10 numbers. You guys help me out with it. The first thing that we need to do is what? What is the first thing that we need to do? Take a counter. Yes. The first thing that you need to do is take a counter. The next thing is we need to run it for how many times we need to define that condition. So I'll check whether counter is less than equals to 10 or not. I'll update the counter. Right. So what is the task that we need to do? Can you guys help me out with that? What is the task that we should do? If we are trying to print something and counter is going while this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is how the code is going to get updated. So what should I print over here? What should I write? Yes, Manya Jain is absolutely correct. I should write print A plus counter into D. वेरी गुड वेरी गुड बहुत सही एकदम एकदम मतलब सही जवाब दिया है ठीक है नेक्स्ट थिंग हम इसमें क्या करें वंस वी हैव प्रिंटेड this particular term for the 10 times what is the next thing that I should do this task is going to get repeated multiple times right first the counter is going to be 1 so I'll print A plus 1 into D secondly the counter will become 2 I'll print A plus 2 into D thirdly counter is going to be 3 I'll print A plus 3D and so on I'll print A plus 10D as well once I have printed these terms what is the next step that I need to do end the program if this condition is not true very good so this will simply we should exit the program so see the efforts that were needed to write this particular program have become very less right so for printing 10 numbers this is the simple program so I hope that all of you have understood that how this thing is done, right? So see, there are many people, those who are, comfortable with these topics, and those might you might have studied these topics, but consider this thing that you are getting revision of something. We are going to revise these things, and there will be many lectures. So don't worry, we don't focus on lectures. We focus on how many lectures are needed to teach each and every one, and take each and every student. We will try to teach each and every student programming, so that he or she must feel comfortable with these topics. तो कोई भी एक जो अच्छे से प्रोग्रामिंग जानता है, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि उसके लिए ही सिर्फ हमने कोर्स चला दिया, और जो बिल्कुल न्यू है प्रोग्रामिंग में, दे डोंट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट प्रोग्रामिंग, एंड दे आर नॉट एबल टू get through with it, right? So that is the main thing over here, right? So this was the first lecture. We have studied these questions, and I'll give you one homework, right? So your homework would be, you can share your homework on Discord, right? Print a Write a flowchart. You can write the or create the flowchart and share it on Discord, right? You can click the image and you can share the image on Discord. You need to print it till a plus nd, right? Update this particular problem to print the series like this for n terms. Update it and let's see कौन सबसे पहले मतलब Discord पे सही आंसर देगा, and will be there on Discord, will be helping you out with the session. तो चलो आज मतलब आज का सेशन आप लोगों को कैसा लगा? How was the first session? Like how was the first session and कैसा एक्सपीरियंस रहा? मजा आया, नहीं आया, कुछ डाउट्स रह गए या बढ़िया लगा, क्या था? खतरनाक था, ओके। ठीक है, तो हम मतलब स्टार्ट करेंगे। वी विल लर्न वेरी गुड थिंग्स, एंड आई विल ट्राई दैट वी विल मेक श्योर दैट once you have learned the programming, then you should be able to practice on platforms like HackerRank, HackerEarth, LeetCode, CodeChef, CodeForces, but it will take some time. तो हम धीरे धीरे सारी चीज़ों को कवर करेंगे, and obviously those who are looking for placements, I'll try that they should get placed in a very good company. So we will make sure each and everything, जितना भी हम कंटेंट मैक्स टू मैक्स आपको प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं, so we will make sure that उतने ही एफर्ट्स हम लगाए. The only one thing, there's only one thing that we require from your side is hope lose ना करके प्रैक्टिस करती रहना. प्रैक्टिस करना is very important, right? So the homework that we give, although these sessions are free, तो हाँ मतलब एक टर्म बहुत सही होती है, फ्री सेशंस की कदर नहीं होती. पता है भाई फिर से मिल जाएंगे, छोड़ो पैसे तो दिए नहीं है, तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है किया नहीं किया. तो वो चीज़ एटीट्यूड वो नहीं रखना है, ठीक है? चीज़ें जब सीख रहे हैं तो अच्छे से सीखनी है, और इस तरह से सीखनी है कि आगे चल के किसी को पढ़ाना भी हो तो पढ़ा सको, राइट? तो ही एक अच्छे से आप चीज़ को सीख सकते हो. मेक श्योर कि इस तरह से हम चीज़ों को जो कर रहे हैं, एफर्ट्स हम लगा रहे हैं, तो आप भी उतनी एफर्ट्स अच्छे से लगाओ, एंड पार्टिसिपेशन सब दिखाओ. होमवर्क जो मिलता है उसको टाइमली कंप्लीट करके सबमिट करो. वी विल ट्राई टू चेक ईच एंड एवरी होमवर्क दैट यू विल सबमिट ऑन डिस्कॉर्ड. वी विल ट्राई टू रिप्लाई, ठीक है? तो अगर कोई गलती होगी तो वी विल लेट यू नो फॉर श्योर.
एंड आप लोगों के अगर कोई फ्रेंड्स हैं, रिलेटिव्स हैं हु आर एक्चुअली प्लानिंग टू स्टार्ट कोडिंग, एंड पीपल हु आर स्टिल नॉट श्योर के कोडिंग मतलब मैं स्टार्ट करूंगा तो मुझे अच्छा लगेगा, मुझे बुरा लगेगा, सो दिस इज अ वे वेयर यू कैन एक्चुअली ट्राई योर हैंड्स एट कोडिंग एंड सी वेदर यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन कोडिंग. आपको मतलब एक्साइटिंग लग रही है कोडिंग, नहीं लग रही है? अगर लग रही है तो फिर यू शुड start with this course, and this could be your stepping stone for learning programming. तो अगर आप तो जानते हैं तो उसको शेयर जरूर कर दीजिएगा ये इन्फॉर्मेशन.
हाँ, और मतलब हमारे सपोर्ट करने के लिए यू शुड आल्सो लाइक, सब्सक्राइब, एंड मतलब मोटिवेशन के लिए कुछ तो फैक्टर चाहिए होता है ना. तो प्लीज विल जस्ट रिक्वेस्ट यू कि आप मतलब जितना स्प्रेड कर सकते हो चीज़ों को उतना स्प्रेड करो, सो दैट हमारी एक कम्युनिटी बन सके, और उस कम्युनिटी के अंदर आप लोग भी आगे चल के दूसरे स्टूडेंट्स की हेल्प कर सको. पार्टिसिपेशन इज मस्ट, एंड कम्युनिटी को ग्रो कराना इज वेरी मस्ट। मतलब आपके साथ अगर पूरा आपका एनवायरनमेंट ऐसा है ना जो पूरा कोड करता है, दे पार्टिसिपेट्स इन कॉन्टेस्ट और आपस में आप लोग चीजों को डिस्कस करते हो, तो आपके अंदर भी ना एक वो फैक्टर रहता है कि मेरे को भी करना है। भले ही चीजें नहीं हो रही होती तो मोटिवेशन बनी रहती है कि भाई उसने किया तो मुझे भी कुछ ना कुछ करके करना है। यू आस्क दैट पर्सन कि उसने कैसे किया, क्या क्या उसको हर्डल्स फेस हुए व्हाइल अचीविंग समथिंग, क्या क्या उसको हर्डल्स फेस हुए अगर कोई हैकाथॉन जीता, क्या क्या उसने चीजें देखी। तो दैट इज द मेन थिंग। जब दूसरे चीजें करते हैं और सीखते हैं देन ओनली यू गेट टू नो अबाउट दीज थिंग्स, तभी आप आगे बढ़ सकते हो। ठीक है, registration still available, students are asking. रजिस्ट्रेशन यस, टेलीग्राम चैनल अभी नहीं है, डिस्कॉर्ड पे ही हम मतलब एक जगह करते हैं। विल क्रिएट टेलीग्राम एज वेल, इट्स फाइन, मतलब वो हम कर लेंगे, बट डिस्कॉर्ड से काम हो जाएगा। राइट, डिस्कॉर्ड मतलब प्रेफर क्यों करता है क्योंकि
चैनल को लाइक जरूर कर दीजिएगा एंड प्लीज सब्सक्राइब टू द चैनल बिकॉज इट्स अ बिग मोटिवेशन फॉर अस।
एंड ये
हाँ
बैकग्राउंड
जी।
नकली नहीं है, ये असली बैकग्राउंड है। ठीक है। नोट्स वगैरह की आज तो मतलब ऐसा कुछ नहीं था जो आपको नीड पड़े। नोट्स आप मतलब साथ साथ क्लास में बना सकते हो। एंड होमवर्क इज दिस, you need to print this particular series. ठीक है, for n terms we have done this thing for 10 terms, you need to do it for n terms. ठीक है, हाँ, I know good background. Yeah, so don't worry, ठीक है, we will meet soon again. So आपकी जो classes होगी that will be on Wednesday and Saturday every week and from 7 to 8 p.m. तो हम Wednesday and Saturday को मिला करेंगे डेली इसी टाइम। तो ठीक है, so there's something जो बोल रहे हैं, tell us something about you. So basically my name is Kartik Bhaiya and I have been teaching at Coding Block. I think it's approximately 3 years since I have been teaching students, and I am into web development. I am into competitive programming. I teach data structures and algorithms, and I do it in C++ programming. I'm not into that much into Java. ठीक है, तो that's something which I have opted for very very early. ठीक है, तो C++ के लिए then I have continued in it. तो मतलब this language is क्वाइट इजी, मतलब जिस लैंग्वेज में आप काफी शुरू से प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो उस लैंग्वेज में अगर आप कंटिन्यू करते हो तो यू बिकम बेटर इन दैट। कोडिंग से डर लगता है सर, तो नहीं लगेगा, डोंट वरी, आई विल हेल्प यू आउट। तो डरना नहीं है, बस चीजें करते जानी है चीजों को, है ना। तो I have been teaching students for more than 3 years now, and there are many students, those who have got placed in Microsoft, Amazon, ठीक है, तो काफ़ी स्टूडेंट्स हैं मेरे जो एडोब इनमें प्लेस हो रखे हैं। एंड इट्स लाइक मेरे लिए मतलब टीचिंग वाली चीज़ मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा पसंद थी, तो आई हैव लेफ्ट दैट IT इंडस्ट्री एंड सॉफ्टवेयर इंडस्ट्री एंड आई हैव बीन इनटू टीचिंग सिंस माय कॉलेज डेज इटसेल्फ। तो मैंने कॉलेज के बाद सीधे टीचिंग वाली की चीज़ों को ज्वाइन कर लिया था। ठीक है, ठीक है, तो चलो दैट्स इट गाइस फॉर टुडे सेशन। आई आल्सो एंजॉयड इट अ लॉट एंड वी विल मीट ऑन सैटरडे। तो सब लोग जरूर आना दोबारा से, ठीक है। तो 7 से 8 हम मिलेंगे। कोड कहाँ करना है आई टेल यू। अभी तो ये फ्लो चार्ट वाली चीज है, राइट द फ्लो चार्ट एंड शेयर इट ऑन डिस्कॉर्ड। इमेज क्लिक करके मोबाइल से यू कैन शेयर इट ऑन डिस्कॉर्ड। आई विल शेयर, यस यू विल गेट सर्टिफिकेट आई गेस। ठीक है, तो चलो गाइस, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर अटेंडिंग एंड इट
थैंक
वाज
यू
अ
गाइस।
प्लेजर टीचिंग यू। सो बाय बाय गाइस। आई कैन डिस्कस यू एवरीथिंग ऑन डिस्कॉर्ड। ठीक है, तो चलो एंड करते हैं। बाय बाय गाइस।